What's up, guys? Thor Dykow here with another edition of This Week on Blu-ray, DVD, and on demand. You know, the weather's getting a little chilly. Why not curl up with a loved one on the couch in the fire and watch a movie? We start things off with Ghostbusters, the most talked about reboot, remake, whatever you want to call it, of the year. And I have to say, though, having watched the female-centric Ghostbusters courtesy of Paul Feig, I could say it may have been unnecessary, but still, it's a very funny movie with a lot of merit, and the Blu-ray is loaded with bonus features. More than 15 minutes, actually, not shown in theaters, so you can get an extended edition, plus more than 3 hours of great bonus content, including deleted scenes and a gag reel. So this combines Kristen Wiig, Leslie Jones, Kate McKinnon, and Melissa McCarthy, along with Chris Hemsworth as the Mimbo secretary. And it's essentially, I mean, it's a rehashing of the story of the first one, involving mischievous ghouls descending on Times Square, basically taking over Manhattan. And the ladies have to band together and form the team and things like that. It doesn't always work. The first half, I think, works best as a comedy, and then it becomes sort of the visual effects driven climax with a lot of the action. So kind of satisfies both categories there when it comes to Ghostbusters fans. I can tell you it's not going to ruin anyone's childhood, and if you think it does, you take movies too seriously. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it should get young women and girls interested in science, and just it really embodied that sense of camaraderie and spirit. So if it did that stuff, I mean, we can't really fault it. So the Blu-ray also has a dynamic frame break effect, which lets you see the proton streams and the ghosts literally leap right off the screen. So there you go. Not always perfect, but the ladies are in fine form, and it had a good message behind it. Ghostbusters, Answer the Call. Get the extended edition on Blu-ray now. Let's move on. One of the most classic figures in literature, Tarzan, hitting the big screen in another reboot, and this is courtesy of Alexander Skarsgård, who I thought was very formidable here in filling in the loincloth of the character of Tarzan, who is larger than life. You've also got Samuel L. Jackson, Margot Robbie, Djimon Hounsou, Jim Broadbent, and Christoph Waltz. And this is directed by David Yates, who worked on the final 4 Harry Potter films and the upcoming Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And this, of course, based on the iconic character from one of my favorite writers, Edgar Rice Burroughs. So Skarsgård, this is years later. He's left the jungles of Africa behind, and now he's sort of living the gentrified life as John Clayton, a.k.a. Lord Greystoke, with his beloved wife, Jane, played by Robbie. And he's called back on a mission to serve as a trade emissary for the Parliament. He goes back to the Congo and gets kind of caught up in a deadly game of greed and revenge, and that's where Christoph Waltz came in. Now, the movie didn't always work. It kind of struggled with the pacing at times, and the script needed a lot of work. Also, the visual effects at points were a little bit shoddy, but you know, it's great to see Skarsgård play this role, and I thought Margot Robbie was particularly effective as Jane, and it's got that nice romantic, sweeping, old school kind of action flavor to it. So if you enjoy the if you enjoy the character and you're a fan of you know, the earlier works of the movies on screen of Tarzan, or even the earlier source material with the books, you may enjoy this one. I had a couple of quibbles, but still worth seeing for the action fantasy genre lover in your life. Let's move on now, and this is talk about scenery chewing. You've got Colin Firth and Jude Law in Genius, and this is the real-life relationship between literary giant Thomas Wolfe and renowned editor Max Perkins. He's also got some great supporting roles here from Nicole Kidman and Laura Linney. So this looks at their transformative and irrepressible relationship, a friendship that changed the life of their brilliant lives forever, and they were very different men. It was interesting to see how they came together. This one's got a couple of cliches, but great performances. I really like the style of it, and it's a fascinating story at its core. So you can't really go wrong with these two guys, Colin Firth and Jude Law, front and center. So Genius, available now. All right, something for the kids, Ice Age Collision Course. They just keep making these movies, and this time around, Scrat's epic pursuit of the elusive acorn accidentally triggers cosmic events that threaten the entire Ice Age world. So the entire gang, Buck, Manny, Ellie, Sid, Diego, they have to work together on this hilarious journey full of non-stop laughs. Now, I thought the story was a little thin in this one, I have to say, even for the little kids. That being said, though, the animation is gorgeous. So technically, this is probably the best one of the bunch. It looks absolutely stunning. And some of the sequences they do, like right here on the planet, it's incredible. And they sort of open up into this other region, this sort of lost world, if you will. That stuff was enthralling. The humor kind of fell flat for me at times. And again, the story got very convoluted. So I think young kids are going to be scratching their heads in terms of where this actually goes as a story. It got a little bit meta and kind of sciencey, which is fine, but it was very inaccessible, I think, for little kids. But the animation is gorgeous. It looked really good on 3D on the big screen, but you get the Blu-ray DVD or the 4K Ultra HD disc, which actually looks pretty stunning. So aesthetically, it's the best of the bunch. Thematically and humor-wise, they may be scraping the bottom of the barrel. Might be time to have this franchise go extinct. See what I did there? All right, let's move on now to an absolute horror classic, getting the 2-disc collector's edition Blu-ray treatment, John Carpenter's iconic masterpiece, The Thing, and Scream Factory bringing you this 2-disc collector's edition with a brand new 2K scan of the film and over 5 hours of extras. Unbelievable. You can see all those amazing special makeup effects by Rob Bottin up close and personal. And you know the story. The winter of 1982, a 12-man research team on a remote Antarctic research station discovers an alien buried in the snow for thousands of years, and that form-changing, unfrozen alien soon wreaks havoc and creates terror that takes on the atmosphere of those that it kills. Now, this is Hitchcockian masterwork at its finest here, a true horror classic, and it looks gorgeous with this new treatment, and the second disc loaded with all kinds of brand new bonus features. So if you enjoy The Thing and you're a fan of John Carpenter's work, this is a must-have. And then check out the other disc for the exhaustive detail of how they made this thing, because it's still today cited as one of the greatest horror masterpieces, not only for the tension, but also for the amazing special effects. You see some of them here. Man, that is just a masterclass. There you have it. And finally, guys, we're going to keep it creepy. The Twilight Zone, the complete series. Get it on Blu-ray and DVD. This is amazing. So for the first time ever, you can get, yes, you hear the music, and Rod Serling, all 156 episodes in pristine high def in this groundbreaking series. One box set. You can travel to another dimension of sight and sound again and again through this stellar remastered version. And I tell you, it looks great, and there are some doozy episodes. A lot of cameos, too, from people that would go on to be very famous actors, and they all, a lot of them got their start here on these Twilight Zone episodes, so don't miss the entire set. I know my father would love this one. I may even have to get a copy myself. There you go, people. That's it. I'm Thor Diakow. You can check me out on Twitter @ThorDiakow, and we'll see you next week right here on BreakfastTelevision.ca.